Okay, so today I'm doing my reading vlog covering well, not just reading, but reading and watching vlog and everything else in between vlog. Covering everything that I've experienced from the 24th to the 30th of September 2023, closing out September for the final week of September. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I am well aware that the last video you all saw was my monthly wrap, but I still wanted to do my reading vlog and watching vlog and life vlog because, yeah, I mean, there are things other than reading that I want to talk about, and when it comes to my reading, I want to spend more time talking about the books that I read in the last week rather than the very quick snippet that you got in the monthly wrap. So let's just dive right in. We'll start with a life update. So my schedule this week for work was so much better than last week. If you remember, I was saying that last week I was working from 11:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. and it was really playing havoc with my body clock. In this past week, I worked from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., which, well, I mean, there's always, a tough side and a good side. And the tough side for 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. is the early wake up for the early start. But I much prefer 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. to any other time because as much as it may, be tough to get up earlier, I love finishing earlier, and finishing at 4 p.m. gives me a lot more time to do a lot of other things before I need to go to bed that night, including reading, but also other things as well. So yeah, it was a good week. I think I spoke to you about the stress about the iPhones. I don't know if I did or not, but anyway, suffice it to say, without giving you the company name, I work for in customer service in a call center for a delivery company, a company that delivers packages and parcels and things like that. And at the end of last week, Friday last week, not this past week, but the one before, so let's be exact, on Friday, the 22nd of September, the new iPhone came out in Australia. I don't know if it came out all around the world on that day, but in Australia it did, and, that may seem like a lovely thing for a lot of people, except for those working in customer service for a delivery company. So we had a lot of people calling us, and it was just, very full on. I remember a colleague warning everyone when we found out that the iPhone was going to be released, because I have not worked at the company long enough to have experienced an iPhone launch before. But she was saying to everyone, if you thought Christmas was bad, wait for the iPhone launch to begin. And she wasn't wrong. I was there for Christmas last year, and Christmas was very, very hectic, as you can imagine. And my advice is, if you're going to have something delivered, I'm just saying this, this does not reflect the company, this is just my opinion. But if you're going to have something delivered for Christmas, please take my advice. Order it in November, just to ensure it will get to you early enough, because there are a lot of people out there, from my experience working in this company, who order things for Christmas at the last minute and then they get upset when it doesn't arrive on time. So if you want something to arrive on time, make sure that you order it early enough. In fact, I'm going to be talking to my cousins, because on my dad's side of the family, we do KK, and so I order things for Kris Kringle for them, and I'm going to have a chat with them if they don't make the announcement early enough for the KK and who got who, because I want more than enough time to order whatever I'm ordering for my KK to make sure it's there on time. There's nothing worse than Christmas Day arriving and having to say I owe you to someone because the gift hasn't arrived on time. So my biggest bit of advice I can give you, I know we've just started October now, but start thinking about what you want to do for Christmas if you're going to have it delivered to you, and start considering ordering it as early as you possibly can. I know that my mother starts ordering in October, and I had a friend who used to order the absolute latest in the 1st of November. I'm going to try to have it the latest in the month of November that I place my orders. But anyway, yeah, other than that, the life update is that, things were better at work because of that schedule, because of the 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So I appreciate that. I'm doing 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. this coming week, and honestly, that's not horrible. I went through a time where I was literally trading two types of shifts, where I would do 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. one week, the next week 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., then back to 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., then 10 a.m. to 6 a.m., and so on and so forth. And now they seem to be varying my schedule a lot. So 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. isn't horrible, and I'll take it on the chin and we'll go from there. But otherwise, that side of things is it's been stressful, but otherwise it's okay. I'm not feeling anywhere near as horrible as I felt 2 weeks ago. So that's a plus, gratitude where it is due, and I'm very, very thankful for that. All right, let's talk about what I've been watching because, oh my goodness, things have dramatically changed. So, I said last week that I've decided to, in terms of what we would say as a booktuber, I've shelved Murder, She Wrote for the moment. I'm just not in the mood for it. I will go back to it and probably get to a point where I just binge everything I can of Murder, She Wrote at one point. But that did continue in the past week. I have started season 5 of Gilmore Girls, and I have watched the first 4 episodes. I may have watched more than that, but anyway, I think it's the first 4 episodes of season 5. And so we're dealing with a number of different things early off in season 5 for Gilmore Girls. Lorelai and Luke, oh my gosh, finally, took forever. We're finally there. Jackson as town selectman is another big thing that we're dealing with. And I'm very early on in the season, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of other things that are going to be coming up. And yeah, really love being in Stars Hollow. If you haven't seen Gilmore Girls and you love cozy mysteries, take out the mystery side. Well, for most episodes, there are some mysteries that occur along the way. And you've got a cozy show in Gilmore Girls, so I highly recommend it. But I decided that I wanted to do my best to catch up with the US edition of Big Brother because I am so far behind. And the reason I got so far behind was by choice. Big Brother this season, season 25, just wasn't interesting me. I found it to be rather boring and lackluster compared to what it had been in previous seasons. So I had let that kind of lapse and fall by the wayside, so to speak, and then decided on Friday, you know what, I'm going to do my best to catch up. And I nearly am caught up. So I have caught up all the way to episode 21, and there are 24 episodes out at the moment. So I have to say that, boy, did I leave off at the wrong time. Had I just stuck it out for 2 more episodes, I would have kept watching because it's gotten so much better. The house is flipping here and there. There is major strategy going on in the house at the moment. I love it. The claws are out. People are fighting to win this game, and that's how it should be because I don't like these safe, predictable seasons where you can pick right away who's going to win and it just, goes along quite smoothly. I don't enjoy that. If you're there to play the game, and as many people say, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Why wouldn't you take advantage of that? And just because you're at the bottom doesn't mean that you need to remain at the bottom. There's always a way to work your way up to the top. Great advice from the fictional character Fran Fine once was, find your low man on the totem pole and make your move. And I think that that's definitely great advice for anyone who finds himself at the bottom. Find the next 2 or 3 that are on the bottom and let them know, hey, that you're, 3rd, 4th, and 5th last or whatever it is in the pecking order. Let's get together, form an alliance, and get these other ones out of here and change the game. And things have really started changing around, which has been really, really interesting to see. The latest episode I saw was the head of household competition where, I won't say who won, I nearly did, where the wall challenge happened. I was very happy with the winner of the wall challenge, and we'll see how things go moving forward. So my plan for the rest of the weekend, for Sunday as well, is to watch the remaining episodes of Big Brother to be caught up. And then if I have more time, then I'll go back to Gilmore Girls. But I've been enjoying my time with Big Brother. It's good to see that things have turned around. Okay, let's give a crochet blanket update. I have completed 7 rows in my crochet blanket, and I'm about to attach my 8th row. If it's not attached today, it'll be attached on Sunday or Monday. One of the two. So I'm getting very close to being done with my new crochet blanket. I love the vibrant colors. Just quick sidebar, I have been crocheting since I started listening exclusively to audiobooks on my booktube channel, and it's worked out really great for me. I have made so many crochet blankets, but with this one, I was looking at the retailer that sells the yarn that I use, and they had this fluorescent pink, and I just loved it. I went, oh my goodness, I need to use that. And so I have decided to create this pink and yellow crochet blanket because I started writing my own cozy mystery. This was a while ago, and I just have not had time or been in the space to dedicate time to continue on with that cozy mystery at the moment. But to cut a long story short, with my cozy mystery that I'm writing, it's set on an island that is divided into 4 districts, and each district is color-coded. The protagonist lives in the district of Legator, and Legator is color-coded pink and yellow. So I wanted to make a pink and yellow blanket to reflect Legator and have a Legator blanket. And yeah, it's been going really well. I love how bright it is because I've got the new blanket where I'm up to on my bed at the moment, and I'm looking at the previous blanket that I made, and it is so bright compared to the previous one. I love it. It is sparkling in sunshine, which is all things Legator and all things me, and I'm very, very happy with it. All right, let's talk about reading because we're already 10 minutes into this reading vlog. I hope you're having a wonderful time, whether you're sitting there listening, doing odd jobs around the house or whatever. I hope that I'm making your day just talking about different things, and let me know how your week has gone. All right, let's talk reading. So last time we spoke, I had finished Murders and Metaphors by Amanda Flower, which was book number 3 in the Magical Bookshop Mystery Series, and I was partway through reading book number 4, and then I planned to read book 5 after that, and I succeeded in both. So I had said in my last reading vlog that I was interested to see what would happen owing to the reveal that occurred in book 3, which was series changing. So, you know, how there's that saying life-changing. It was life-changing for the series as a whole. Normally, I've read a lot of cozies. I mean, I have just started creating my 3rd row in my bookshelf of cozy mysteries. It is incredible. And right now, I just don't care if I end up having 8 rows of cozies. I love my cozies, and nothing's going to change that. So anyway, I'm up to row 3 that I'm building at the moment on my bookshelf. And the majority of reveals that I find in cozy mysteries are just standard, not standard. I mean, there can be reveals that can be rather flooring and can shock and surprise me, but they won't necessarily have a major impact on the series as a whole. Whereas book 3 in the Magical Bookshop Mystery Series, Amanda Flower took a massive risk and took a character that was well known in the series and made that character the murderer. So I was really interested to see, because obviously if they're caught as the murderer, they're going to go to jail. How's that going to impact the series? And I was saying in my last reading vlog that yeah, it had impacted in a certain way, and I was liking what was going on. Well, with book 4, a similar situation happened. So I'll quickly tell you the premise of book 4. So the premise of book 4 is with oh my goodness. With the help of Walt Whitman's works, magical bookshop owner Violet Waverley puts her pedal to the metal to sleuth a bicycle race murder that tests her mettle. When Redding, a PI, perishes in an accident during the race, David discovers that the brake line of the private eye's bike was cut. Worse, Violet tops his list of suspects. As Emerson the Tuxedo Cat and Resident Crow Faulkner look on, Charming Books steers Violet to the works of Walt Whitman to solve the crime. But no other names ring a bell as culprits, and as David's investigation picks up speed, Violet will have to get in gear to clear her name. My apologies. Okay, premise out the way. The reveal, I'm jumping right to the reveal to make my point. The reveal again in book 4, like with book 3, was life-changing for the series. So I was very intrigued to see how that was going to impact the final book in the series. But yeah, really interesting to see the life-changing impact that the reveal in book 3 had in book 4, and Amanda Flower made it work, so I really appreciated that. Ultimately, I ended up giving Verse from Benjamin 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. However, every time Walt Whitman's name was brought up, it reminded me of this episode of The Simpsons where Homer goes to see what he thinks is going to be his mother's grave. He parts the leaves of the gravestone and reads the writing etched on there saying, "Here lies Walt Whitman." And seriously, if you look up The Simpsons, "Here lies Walt Whitman," or just Simpsons Walt Whitman into YouTube, you'll see the scene I'm talking about. I kept hearing that every time that Walt Whitman's name came up in the book. I kept hearing Homer go, "Walt Whitman!" But anyway, but yeah, look, the book overall was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it. 4.5 stars, and was just, as I said, intrigued to see how now, for the second book in a row, this life-changing reveal was going to affect the remainder of the series. So 4.5 stars for Verse and Vengeance. And for the first 4 books, I highly, highly, highly recommend them. If you like or even love, like I do, Amanda Flower, she's my favorite female author of all time. I'm doing a video that's coming up soon where I talk about this fact very quickly to prove how much I love Amanda Flower. I have a bookshelf now dedicated to Amanda Flower. I used to only have one shelf dedicated to one author before, and the rest of them were dedicated to genres. But, and that was for Brandon Sanderson. Now I have a bookshelf dedicated to Amanda Flower with only 5 books in there just because I didn't have room to put them anywhere else at the moment. But next year, I'm going to have 2 Amanda Flower series on my SAS list again, and they will fill, if not overfill, that entire shelf of just being Amanda Flower. And I'm so happy not only to have Amanda Flower have a shelf of her own, but to have a cozy mystery author have their own shelf. That is just a big celebration for me. 4.5 stars for Verse and Vengeance. Highly recommend the first 4 books. Now, why am I highly recommending the first 4 books? Well, that is because for me, the next book I read was this book, Crimes and Covers by Amanda Flower, book number 5 of 5, the final book in the Magical Bookshop series, which helped me to cross this book off my SAS list. This book was a disappointment, and it's sad that it was a disappointment given it was the final book in the series. So, I gave this book 3 stars. The premise of this book is that Violet is shocked to recognize the deceased as a mysterious woman who visited Charming Books 2 days before her wedding, touting a rare first edition of Henry David Thoreau's Walden, well aware that a mint condition copy could be worth more than $14,000. Violet told the woman she would have to have the book appraised before she could consider buying it. Most displeased, the woman tucked the precious tome under her arm and stormed out of the shop. Now she is dead. With Emerson the Tuxedo Cat and Faulkner the Crow at her side, Violet sets out to recover the priceless book by solving a murder most transcendental. I just did not enjoy this book. The mystery did not intrigue me. So, there are spoilers for things that I want to say about the cozy side that I won't say, but I will say that something pretty awesome does happen at the beginning of the book on the cozy side that I did love. And overall, I love the cozy side of this book, and I love the cozy side for, I can honestly say, all of Amanda Flower's series that I've read so far. The mystery doesn't always work for me, however, and that was definitely the case for this one. I just didn't find it intriguing at all, and so therefore I docked 2 stars, because it really just... Sometimes there are mysteries that I love in cozy, sometimes there are mysteries that are okay, and sometimes I'm just not intrigued by it one iota, and in this occasion, I just wasn't intrigued by it one iota, and so it deserved a 2-star docking. So I gave this book 3 stars. It was a disappointing way to end the series for me, and I can understand why there aren't any more books out after that one, but in saying that, don't let that stop you from picking up this series, because the first 4 books were absolutely fantastic, and I do highly recommend them. And the start of this one was good. Up until the murder of this book would have been a 5-star book. So there you go. That one got 3 stars from me. So, having finished the Magical Bookshop series, I now only have 2 series left on my SAS list to get through this year. The first of which is The Uglies Quartet by Scott Westerfeld. However, the edition that I'm after, which is the white background with the flower on it, it's a 2023 edition from Simon & Schuster UK. The 4th book, Extras, is not out in that edition yet. And so I don't know if I'm even going to get to that book this year, because it depends on if it's coming out or not. I made this announcement in my monthly wrap, and I'm just going to reiterate it here. If the edition is available this year, then I will read it. If it is not, then I will abandon the 4th book and consider The Uglies Quartet done as a trilogy for me, which is fine. I'm happy either way. It'll come down to Simon & Schuster whether or not they're releasing extras in that 2023 edition or not. Alright, so then, Uglies Quartet aside, all I have left is the Hayley Powell Food and Cocktail Mystery Series. I have 2 books left to read on for this year. I wanted to get up to and complete book 13, so that I only had 14, 15, and 16 next year, or 17 as well if there is a 17th book, and so only 2 books away. I am shelving the next one, which is Death of a Blueberry Tart, which is book number 12, to November, because I'm buddy reading with my mum, and my mum is catching up reading Death of a Wedding Cake Baker, book 11, in this month in October. Alright, that aside, So that's all I have left on the SAS list. The final book that I picked up for the month of September was this book. Fearless, Finding the Power to Thrive by Yelena Dokic. This is an adult memoir, and I gave this book an overwhelming 5 stars. Okay, so this was the only book that got 5 stars from me this month, and I'm so glad I left it to last, and I'm so glad I had room to read it at the end of September, because it really just capped off what was predominantly a 4-star month for me in the best possible way. So, okay, very quickly, for those of you who don't know, Yelena Dokic is a former world number 4 tennis player who rose to stardom after being given a wild card into Wimbledon and in the first round convincingly beating then world number 1 Martina Hingis. There was a lot of controversy that surrounded Yelena, and officially she came out and explained that a lot of the controversy was due to her father, and because of things going on behind the scenes, she couldn't really say much at the time. But Yelena was being mentally, verbally, and physically abused behind the scenes by her father, to the point that one example she provided in her first memoir, which is called Unbreakable, where she said that she made the semi-finals of Wimbledon one year, which is a huge accomplishment, only losing to Lindsay Davenport, who was at the time a phenomenal tennis player that most tennis players lost to anyway. Her father rung her and said, "Don't even think about coming back to the hotel tonight. You don't have anywhere to stay with us tonight. You are not our family anymore." And she ended up sleeping in the grounds of Wimbledon. So Yelena went through a lot in her life. When she finally ended up getting away from her father, and with that came the success of her making it through to the 2009 Australian Open quarterfinal, which was a great run for her. And ultimately, she was with her boyfriend at the time. Ultimately, they ended up splitting. Before they did, she released her first book, Unbreakable, and that one detailed everything she went through behind the scenes, as well as her tennis career. And then she released this book this year, Fearless, Finding the Power to Thrive, which is talking about how she went from where she was to where she is today, which is she's doing much better than she was, and she's using her experiences to assist others. So the premise of this book is that in past years, Yelena has dealt with disordered eating and reclaimed her body. She has stood up to body shaming and online abuse. She has faced her mental health demons head on to find stability in the chaos of life. She has endured a devastating relationship breakdown. This book is about starting at the bottom and building yourself back up. Yelena opens up on how she has survived trauma and heartache to establish herself as a leading tennis commentator and motivational speaker. The past years have taught her many tough and important lessons, and now she is ready to share them to help you find your voice and the power to thrive. So to my thoughts on the book, it was a truly remarkable book. As a huge fan of Yelena's from the moment I first saw her at the Hopman Cup in 1999, to her win over Martina Hingis as a wildcard at Wimbledon, to her leaving Australia, to her coming back to Australia, to her 2009 quarterfinal run at the Australian Open, and most importantly, her coming out about what really happened behind closed doors with her father, Unbreakable, Yelena's first book was fantastic in seeing a reflection on Yelena's past, the reality of what was, and the positive hope for the future. Fearless is Yelena's story of that future, showing that how, despite not being fully recovered from everything she's gone through, a frank depiction of how her life has turned around, and how that has not only managed to help others, but in my opinion, how it has served to help her, and to help her lead a life she is so deserved of. Congratulations, Yelena, on an amazing book. I cannot wait to see more books from you in the future. 5 stars. I just want to pause here to make a quick point. I don't do this often, but I'm going to make a specific recommendation of this book to anyone out there who has gone through any kind of mental health issues, and whether it be relating or not relating to what I'm about to bring up, mental health issues, if you've gone through them, this book is a fantastic book. Now, it also, if you've gone through mental health issues to do with physical, mental, or verbal abuse, it will help as well. I need to be very clear. This is not a self-help book. If anything, it might be taken as a self-help book by the reader, because they can learn from Yelena's experience, but you need to know, don't go into this thinking this is a self-help book. It's not. It just may be a self-help book learning from the lessons Yelena has learned. But what Yelena tells is her story. It's her memoir of, I was here, and here's how I got to where I am today. So not I was here, here's how I got to where I am today, and this is what you should do, but I was here and here's how I got to where I am today. And it is fantastic to see where she is, not only because of everything that happened with her father, but she has gone through so much, especially with online bullying and harassment since she left her father and since she ended her tennis career. And the way that she's been able to turn that around into not only a positive for her own life, but to try and assist others where she can is fantastic to see. I'm so proud of Yelena. And yes, I am a massive fan. And yes, that's why I'm biased and that's why I'm talking about it, but I really do think that everyone should look into this book. If you're not a fan of tennis, don't pick up book one, because book one, Unbreakable, talks about half of it is her life on the tennis tour and the other half is what happened with her father behind the scenes. But pick up book two, because book two isn't just about tennis. There's little things here and there about tennis, little snippets, but the majority is, here's where I was, here's how I got to where I am. But yeah, that's enough from me talking about this book, because I could talk about it for an hour. I could do a dedicated 1 hour review on this book and still have more to say. An overwhelming 5 stars from me for Fearless by Yelena Dokic, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Okay, so looking forward to seeing what I plan to read in this upcoming week. And just pulling up my schedule. So yeah, we're in October now, and I had a goal to read 6 horror books in the month of October. I have all of them now. The final 2 horror books arrived today, so very, very happy about that. So this week I'm going to read Dark Ride by Ian Rob Wright, and I'm going to read Animal Kingdom by Ian Rob Wright. I kind of changed up my TBR's order a little bit because I was waiting for The Troop and Black Chalk to arrive. Even though they did arrive today, I am reading 2 other Ian Rob Wright books after that one. So in order to split them up and read 2 Ian Rob Wrights, then take a break, then another 2 Ian Rob Wrights, I'm now doing it this way. So just saying that one more time to make it more concise and clear. So, this week I plan to read 2 books and start a third. The first of those books is Dark Ride by Ian Rob Wright. The second is Animal Kingdom by Ian Rob Wright. And the third is The Troop by Nick Cutter. So I will have finished Dark Ride, have finished Animal Kingdom, and start The Troop, all of which are horror books. It's gonna be a horrific in the best possible way October TBR, and I cannot wait to begin. How was your final week in the month of September, and how is your October going? Let me know in the comment section below. But in the meantime, that is where I am going to leave it, letting you all go with peace, blessings, and so much love. Please do be kind and love one another, and spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world. And until next time, happy reading. Bye everyone!